Will focus on Africa as the Moroccan city of Marrakesh will be host in November 2016 to the upcoming UN Conference of Parties to the Convention on Climate Changes. The North African country is expected to advance the decisions of the Paris Agreement, which is expected to be concluded on December 20. We are joined by a financial expert to throw more light on adaptation and looking at possibilities whether Africa as a continent can succeed with the 22nd COP. Climate-related investment that you see generating attention from private financiers.
Yes, today we are looking at some sectors where there's huge investment almost all over the world. It's more than $300 billion every year in the renewables. In Africa, we believe that there is huge opportunities for investment from the private sector in the renewable energy sector. That's one axis, very important. Of course, when we're talking renewable energy, we're talking about solar, wind, hydro, but also biomass, also all those sectors where we can find a way of developing not only big projects, but also small projects. So we should not look only at very big projects, but especially more adapted small renewable energy project in Africa. That's one thing. This is for mitigation. One thing that is still need a lot of support is energy efficiency. We should not anymore waste energy in our continent. Even when we have energy as a country, we should not waste it anymore. Have a policy for energy efficiency in industry, transport, housing, public buildings, public lighting, agriculture. All those sectors, you need to have an approach today where you have to have this strong policy. For adaptation, that's another thing. We need to look, when you're talking about food security, of water management, of waste recycle for reforestation. This is all those sectors where we can believe that today there's many opportunities for the private sector in Africa to be more and more involved. It's a matter of policies, it's a matter of governance, it's a matter of financing. And we believe when you have such visibility for the private sector, when you have the visibility, when you have the approach, the right approach, you can have the private sector investing in those sectors. And it's very important. It's not a matter of money, it's a matter also of governance. It's something very important.
Will you say that Africa is well positioned to take advantage of these funds and $100 billion?
Yeah.
Is it enough for the entire
No,
continent?
We should start. We should start, and of course we will ask for more because there's huge needs and we are living huge impacts of climate change in our continent. But it's something that we should start and show that we have the capacity to propose projects. We have the capacity to have this industry integration in Africa. We have the capacity to develop economic projects. So it's very important to have all this in mind. And we believe, and that's why during the COP22, we have in the green zone what we call the Hub Africa, where we're inviting private companies from Africa to show the technology, to show the innovation. You have many big and small companies. We have many big and small companies in Africa that are proposing, giving some proposition, some solutions in this field. So we want to show that during the COP22 we have a space dedicated to that. It's something very important, and Hub Africa will be dedicated to that.
Okay. COP21 was in Paris. So I want to find out what are your expectations for the role that a private sector will be asked to play in the post-Paris low carbon emission?
Yeah, the private sector has a key role. The private sector should decrease its own greenhouse gas emissions. That's one thing. It can do some measure. I was talking about energy efficiency. The private sector has to start by showing and giving the example and doing this. Second point, the private sector can play a key role in this green economy. It has to look at opportunities. Even some companies that are not involved to climate change can look at opportunities. You know, you have many oil companies now involved in the renewable. So it's something that is open for everyone. We should think that this energy transition is just starting, even in our continent, when we have huge opportunities in our continent. So we should take them and we should develop them.
Don't you think that the technicalities involved in accessing these funds sometimes are just too demanding for African countries? In my country, for instance, so many projects were presented from the private sector. Only 5 were accepted. And even with these 5, I'm told that not all of them are going to get funding.
Yeah, no, from where? Depending on the African Development Bank had now a dedicated amount for renewable energy in Africa. And we have many opportunities in this field. We should be careful, you know, if a project, even if it's linked to climate change, to look at its economic situation, social impact, and environmental impact. All this has to be taken into account. Of course, some projects are accepted, others no. We should really look why they get this negative answer, if it's linked to because they don't have enough money, or it's linked because the project is not economically viable. And the project, if you want to be sustainable, has to be economically viable. It has to be sustainable, it has to be linked to climate change, but it has to be economically viable.
The US and China have ratified. I mean, given that they have not been so much interested in getting it on board in the past years, and given also that COP21 is not legally binding to some extent, it's not just for the comrades.
No, I can assure you that because we know the history of the COPs, and to have such involvement from those 2 big countries that were very skeptical before to sign even the Kyoto Protocol, and that's something very strong. So we have to be very glad of that. One point, of course, we are looking to the still big, rich countries, big emitters that are not ratifying it yet. It's not fair. It's something that has to be done very quickly, because we think that to show the example, as we mentioned, Africa is suffering from climate change. It's not responsible from climate change. So we have to be careful about that, to show that those has to also ratify, and we have to do it.
In your sincere opinion, do you think Africa is in the right position for COP 2022?
Is that pardon?
Your sincere opinion, do you think that Africa is in the right position for COP 22?
Yes, of course. Africa has many projects, and in Morocco we have some solutions that we can share with all our partners, all our continent. That is something that can be really, for mitigation and for adaptation projects, something very important. So we can show that we have some solutions, African solutions today, and it's something that can be really shared with all our partners.